What's going on, PvPers? We are back for the quarterfinals of the Lost Ark Royal Roaders tournament. Now, the way it's going to work this weekend is it's still a best of 3 series. However, we have a new Group A and Group B category for the weekend. Essentially, one of the advancing teams from A, B, C, and D are going to be mixed up and made into the new Group A, and the other advancing team from Group A, B, C, and D are going to be mixed together and make up Group B. So, those are how the matchups are going to be determined for this weekend, and then the winning teams coming out of both of the groups will be the semifinals next weekend, which will be a best of 5 series. All right, and then the third place game the following weekend will be a best of 5, with the finals being a best of 7. So without further ado, let's get into the first matches of the day. All right, and let's get the first match of these B group quarterfinals underway. We're seeing an interesting comp from Red Team to start things off with a Bard Paladin Artillerist. Very tanky comp, a lot of shields at their disposal, going up against Blue Team's Blade Striker Bard. Hit, who has predominantly played a Berserker throughout this tournament, is actually starting this series off on a Blade. We'll see how that works out for him. I haven't seen him play on the Blade, so this will be very interesting. Comes out with a very aggressive Headhunter right away to get the knock on the Artillerist, who rolls, unable to catch the Bard in a stun there. Does get a nice knock onto Hit, however, to force his roll. And right there, Bard caught bottom side in the Flamethrower and eats a Sword of Justice, followed by a nuke drop down by the Artillerist. Great prediction, forcing the shield early out by the Bard. The ult coming through to put out some huge shield for their team, but this Bard is already down under 50% HP. In the first 30 seconds of this match, Bard trying to create some space, moving towards Red Team's spawn right now, and is actually going to have the Artillerist catch him in a stun here and get executed by the Sword of Justice of the Paladin before the nuke could even come down by the Artillerist. The Paladin finishes them off with a very nice Sword of Justice there, and you're going to see Red Team go up 1-0 in the first minute of this match. Striker trying to catch this Paladin out with a nice combination, but Paladin just a little too tanky innately and doesn't take too much damage overall. Counter staggers the Strikers, follow up, and actually gets another Sword of Justice off big chunk. Huge nuke, full combo coming out by the Artillerist on the right side. He actually caught the Bard in a stun and got the full Artillerist combo off to drop this Bard back under 50% HP after having just spawned, forcing the heal out right now, trying to stabilize their team for Blue. Red back in control of this match already. Just like that, after the respawn, Blade tries to come dashing in, gets caught in a Flamethrower stagger. Artillerist gets knocked by the Striker. Rocket jumping in, does get caught by a stun by Hit, into a nice Headhunter there to chunk him down just a little bit, but the Rhapsody comes through to protect the Artillerist for any follow-up damage there. And the Artillerist actually catching once more another stun onto Hit there, and Hit is also going to eat the Paladin ult, which is going to put out a thick shield for Red Team, but Hit is also going to fall, giving Red Team a 2-0 lead as they have these massive damage mitigation shields. The shield does drop though just in time as Typhoon drops his ulti onto the Bard for Red Team, finally getting some damage through. And that Bard is now going to drop down into low HP, but the Paladin comes through with a nice knock-up Sword of Justice. Guardian Angel execution onto the Striker, 3-0 lead for Red Team. And there you just saw a large amount of damage come through onto that Artillerist, but there was so much shielding right there between their own shield as well as the shield of the Paladin that mitigated all of it. Rocket jumping in, connecting on a stun, and actually knocked away Typhoon in the process as well. He was trying to follow up. This Artillerist has no HP right now on the bottom side, but goes into turret mode, gets off another shield, and is just hanging on for dear life right now. Shield healing coming out by the Bard now to pump this Artillerist health back up. Little 4K ticks there, keeping this Artillerist alive just a little bit longer, letting them get every bit of value they can out of this one life. 4-1 lead for Red Team with just over a minute remaining. OpenGL now also inside that execution health range, extremely low, is going to get finished off by the Headhunter. 4-2 Red lead. Hit though is under 50% at the moment. Blue Team can still make a match out of this. They just need to have a very defensive last minute here and pick up some kills, but Hit is going to get caught in the stun, followed by the nuke in Flamethrower from the Artillerist there, who rocket jumps forward, rolls through, and catches him in the Gatling gun stagger, but the Bard is going to come through just in time to peel off the Artillerist, and Hit is now going to survive with just almost no HP, trying to get his own value out of his low HP situation. And there comes the healing onto the Bard, stun onto the Artillerist by Hit, into the Hurricane Rush to get a little bit of damage, knocked away by the Rocket Blast, and Hit actually forced to jump away before the nuke comes dropping down, which drops the Bard on blue team really low once more inside that dangerous HP range situation. Hit just has no health to do anything at the moment. He has to stay away and out of engagements, tries to jump in, does get caught, goes for the ulti, gets finished off though by the artillerist. 11 seconds remaining. 3-kill lead at the moment. Blue team needs to pick up a 3-kill swing right here. Nice bit of AoE damage coming out onto red team there, dropping them all below 50% HP. Typhoon looking to pick up a kill here, but he is going to get knocked instead, and you're actually going to have the Bard and Striker fall in those final 10 seconds to give red a definitive 7-2 win in this first match of this best-of-3 quarterfinals. What a great match played by red team there. Let's take a quick look at the post-game stats. Wow, look at that. That really stands out to you right away. While you do see the artillerist with that damage output, you actually should be noticing the paladin with that 4-kill, 0-death performance. And they did the second most damage overall in the match. More than the striker, more than the blade. All right, but at the same time, they didn't die and they took less than 100k damage. That is incredible value that they got out of that Paladin there, who's supposed to be a support class, by the way. But the thing about Paladin is you are able to build them relatively offensively in PvP and get some really good damage out of them. But they still bring that incredible support utility with the damage reduction of Erufions or the shielding that they can provide every so often. And it just adds a lot of value to the class overall, and it really shows here in this match as the Paladin comes through with, throughout that match, we saw the Paladin get a lot of finishing kill situations that, just executed the low HP targets of blue team here. And you can just see that the Bard got absolutely bullied by blue team, wasn't able to get any damage out to contribute in that front, but also took the most amount of damage in the match overall. So very well played series by red there. Let's get into this second match and see how these teams make any adjustments to one another. All right, and let's get the second match in these B group quarterfinals underway. This first series, blue team is currently up 1-0, and we're actually seeing some class swaps between both of these teams in this match, and red team is coming out with a Sork Zerker Bard comp, hoping to counteract the double support artillerist that blue team was running, but they completely counterpicked him in this match and came out with a Blade Scouter Paladin comp to go against what they came out with on red team. Hit immediately coming in, but does get instantaneously frozen and knocked up by blue team into the Scouter laser. Huge damage already coming out on Hit right now. Bard topside trying to get some CC to peel for the Sork of red. Typhoon is on that Sork there as well right now. Hit back on his Zerker. Hopefully he's able to make something work on a class he's more familiar with. Scouter dancing around topside, waiting for an opportunity, avoiding the freeze, does get the stagger off there onto the Sork. Sork laser, not able to connect whatsoever. Hit caught once more into the Bard CC and eats the rockets from the Scouter, while the Scouter also gets off the laser onto the Sork of red team. Huge damage coming out against red already at the beginning of this match. No kills yet, however. Hit knocked once more by the Scouter, rolls away from the stun by the blade, and is now topside with his Bard as the Sork is stuck down low on their own. Goes to get the freeze off. Hit coming in with the Tempest Slash, does get a little bit of damage out on that Scouter, and right now their Bard is going to come through and put a little pressure as well onto blue team. Blade coming through, getting a stun onto the Sork, misses the Headhunter, however, might have been using it as a zoning tool against that Bard, and connects there to knock the Sork further away once more. Big damage coming through onto that Sork. Very low HP as the Scouter's looking to finish him off. Scouter caught once more. Ulti coming through by that Scouter to finish off the Sork and drop all of red team extremely low. Blue team in a complete HP control situation right now. A big knockup coming through. They tried to get their own ult off in time by the Bard to mitigate that ult damage that came through from blue, but it wasn't enough. And now you're actually going to see the Bard and Zerk fall for red. 3-0 lead just like that for blue team. Very nice controlled combinations coming out. Tempest Slash coming through on Hit there, but it was through the shield of OpenGL. Blade bottom side, keeping that Sork knocks down on red team, not letting them get anything off. Hit getting juggled around right there. Tries to come diving slash in to connect, not able to get it. He is in Zerk mode at the moment, comes in with the Windblade and his go and pop that off, but the Rufion's coming through by the Paladin to mitigate all the damage that came there. Whirlwind missing, however, by the Blade of blue team. Hit trying to connect on a Tempest Slash there, not able to get it. Bottom side, Sork coming through with the freeze waves, doesn't get it. Blade not stunning him into the Z skill identity, dropping him down. Headhunter coming through once more, and just like that, the Bard is now under 50% HP, and you actually are going to see the Blade of blue team fall just now. They were dancing around with low HP for some time. 3-1 Blues lead. Hit is low as well, though. He is under 50%, along with OpenGL on that Paladin for blue team. Right now, Scouter coming back through. Big stun coming out by the Paladin there. Missing the Sword of Justice, unfortunately, as it looked like the Blade actually knocked the Sork away from it, but they are going to pick up a kill here on hit, bottom side. Instead, Bard trying to connect with a nice little bit of AoE CC, but is going to get pursued by the Scouter, who is in Iron Man mode and just comes leaping in, double lasers, finishing off the Bard. 5-1 blue lead. They are just in complete control of this match right now. Hit trying to connect, not able to connect on that Sword Storm, unfortunately, as the Scouter rolls away in time. Bottom side, Paladin waiting for his opportunity to counter stagger or knock up, and you actually are going to have the Sork caught right there in the stun by the Scouter into the laser, jumping around, dashing away, avoiding the knockups of the Sork. So much movement on that Scouter, and he's actually going to finish off the Sork here mid Sork ulti right there. 6-2 blue lead, as hit does connect for a kill onto the Scouter. However, at the same time, their own Bard falls. 7-2 blue lead. OpenGL finally extremely low, and hit is going to go down for his ulti right there, mid ulti once more, and does fall, unable to pick up a kill on OpenGL. And OpenGL getting nice value out of his low HP situation right now with another Guardian Angel knockback. 8-3 blue lead, and they are going to take this first series in a very quick, dominating 2-0 sweep of red team there. Wow, what a performance coming out by them. What a great counter pick that they actually applied in this situation. Let's take a quick look at the scoreboard. And right there, that Scouter dominance. While the Blade for blue team did pick up the most kills, that just means they got the most finishing blows. But this Scouter's damage output in this situation was just absolutely through the roof in comparison to everybody else, doing more damage than all of red team combined right there, actually. And as we saw towards the end of that match, the Scouter just had so much movement and was able to avoid all of the CC and self-peel that Typhoon tried to utilize on that Sork, but it was to no avail, as he just got bullied around the map, being pursued by a Scouter and Blade every which way he looked, and hit on that Zerker just could not get an opportunity to follow up, as the Paladin was there at every turn to peel him away, and the Bard just not able to utilize much of their own support in that situation, as their teammates were just constantly on the back foot the whole way through. Great dominating performance by the blue team there. First on the artillerist double support into a very aggressive alternate comp with the Paladin Blade Scouter. They are going to move on to the winners bracket series in this Group B quarterfinals. All right, here we are into the second series of the Group B quarterfinals, and we are seeing Demonic War Dancer Paladin going up against Gunlancer Gunslinger Paladin. Very tanky comp over on blue once again, with a very mobile, agile Gunslinger to go with it. I feel like red team might have a difficult time locking down blue team in this situation, but you know, red team does have some nice utility at their team's hand, as the War Dancer comes leaping in immediately and dashes away from the snipe of the Gunslinger, getting a nice engage out. Demonic coming through, getting the knockup from range on that Gunlancer, keeping them out of the fight early on. Red team's Rufion's coming through to stagger out blue team, as well as protect their team here. Bottom side, Demonic staying out, looking for a chance, actually running the grab hand by Demonic. Very interesting to see. You don't see that too often from Demonics. There come the Blades from range right there. Might be running it for the purpose of either guaranteeing engagements or getting bar filler so they can use demon mode more often, more gauge filler. And right now, the Gunslinger is actually getting caught out left and right by red team's aggressive playstyle and getting them down below 50% HP. Rufion's coming through on that Paladin. Very nice Rufion's to protect against the Gunlancer's burst cannon. And bottom side, there it was. You had that Demonic connect with a nice grab onto that Paladin. Not able to come out too much with their demon form, not getting anything out of it. But the Paladin on blue is going to come through with an ulti to get some protection onto that Gunslinger, who is
now getting protected by the Ruffians and just a little bit of shielding. This Gunslinger getting every bit of survival out of that sliver of HP that they can. There's just so much shielding and protection on blue, and the Gunslinger finally falling, but not before red team does lose some health on their War Dancer and Demonic in this matchup, but they do go up 1-0, getting a nice combination off onto blue team's Gunlancer there. Bottom side, caught out in another stagger. Paladin looking to finish him off, has to back off before the Gunslinger snipe comes through, but now they're trying to finish off the Paladin over here on the left side, and they are going to finally do it. The Paladin does fall, and now they're looking to get this Gunlancer as he gets a nice counterattack off, but the Demonic comes through with the finishing touches. Gunslinger now by themselves, 3-0 lead for red team, having a very good start in this match with 2 minutes remaining. Demonic coming in with a nice grab there, does get staggered out by the Gunslinger into the shell knockup, manages to roll to avoid the shotgun rounds, but does get sniped out from far. War Dancer, Tornado coming through, looking to get a little bit of damage out onto that Gunslinger, but shielding came out by the Paladin to prevent it. Does get a nice combustion knockup there into the ulti, but there was some shielding currently out from that Gunlancer, so not too much came through onto blue team, but a little bit did come out onto the Paladin at least, dropping him down around to 75% HP. Gunslinger catching the Demonic in a knockup down low, and is actually going to eat a huge amount of damage coming out by that Gunslinger and Paladin as there's 3-2 red lead, but the Demonic is already once again close to death. This could give blue team an opportunity to get back into this match. Demonic needing to play very careful here and not get caught. Does manage to catch a knockup onto that Gunslinger, but does not connect onto the thrust impact. And however, red team's Paladin coming through with the ulti now to get out some nice shielding, and actually manages to survive the Demonic with a nice shield there, as the Demonic did eat enough damage that would have finished them off as you watch that shield bar drop from the damage that they took. Demonic looking to get some poke out onto this Gunslinger. Gunslinger dancing around trying to connect on the Paladin, not able to get it. Gunlancer does get the bash off onto the Paladin. War Dancer coming through as the Gunlancer manages to tank the engage. Does get grabbed though by the Demonic into the thrust impact, but the Ruffians come through, connecting on the laser. The Demonic goes into the knockup, does go demon form, and is now have a demon form for these final moments. Beautiful backstep by the Gunlancer there, able to avoid the Demonic engage. And there goes the War Dancer trying to connect onto the Gunlancer. Does get the whirlwind kick, but then has to back off because the Paladin was right there as well. This is still a very close match. 10 seconds left. 3-2. This is still anyone's game at the moment unless the Gunlancer falls here. Ruffian's coming through to tank it. Beautiful Demonic ulti coming out. Drop demon form to pick up a nice double kill there onto blue team. Well timed. Dropped demon form to get an ulti in the middle of the map to finish off 2 of blue team's members, allowing red to secure a 5-2 definitive victory in this first match in this best of 3. Let's take a quick look at the post-game stats. As you can see, very solid performance by that War Dancer coming through. Nice damage output with minimalistic damage taken in this situation. And the Demonic, while they had a very close damage score, they did take a bit more damage, but they were able to secure a handful of kills with their ranged grabs, ranged CCs, and just overall poke, and being able to have that damage output that is necessary when they have it available. And overall, blue team, it was a very close match down to those final 10 seconds, really, as it was still 3-2, and they could have easily pushed it into an overtime had they managed to pick up a kill somewhere, but they just didn't quite have the damage in that round. The Gunslinger only able to get out 270k, and the Gunlancer and Paladin not able to contribute too much on that front either. They were able to mitigate a lot of damage, though, overall, but it was not enough in this situation. Red team's Paladin able to get great utility out of himself with no deaths and, not even taking really half of his HP bar in that match. So let's see what kind of adjustments blue team makes in this next match, if they have any for this comp. All right, everyone, we are into the second match of this second series in a best of 3 for Group B quarterfinals. Winner moves on to the winner's bracket to fight the Artillerist double support comp that won the first series. And we are not going to see a change to red team's comp, but blue team is actually going to come out with a comp change. That Demonic changing over to a Soulfist. So now we're actually going to see War Dancer, Soulfist, Paladin. Very tanky comp with double DR available on blue team, but immediately the snipe comes out onto that Soulfist as they eat a nice bit of damage, though, and this Gunslinger has them caught out. 2 members of blue team already dropping below 75% HP as this War Dancer does get caught in a knock once again by the Gunslinger, eating the shotgun rounds on that top side. Now comes in, does get the Crescent Moon kick into the Whirlwind kick onto this Paladin, but Paladin is fortunately a little bit tanky and is able to take some of that damage. Gunlancer manages to get the chain pull there, not able to follow up with any damage of their own as the Sport Dancer is trying to catch this Gunslinger, who's doing a much better job of evading damage this time around. Right now, I feel like, I don't know if the Soulfist was the right change, as that Demonic did bring a very nice ranged poke and peel for blue team, but we'll see if he can make it work as he comes in with the Palm Stun here. Not Palm Stun there, not able to get the knockup, unfortunately. War Dancer Tornado coming out, manages to avoid the Frost Bomb, but doesn't connect with anybody on that Tornado, however. And red team, the only person on their team who's taken considerable damage has been that Paladin, and he's still above 50% HP, as well as the War Dancer on blue is under 50% and does need to be careful. Stun coming out by the Soulfist there. Nice range stun onto that Gunlancer. Forced to use his roll. Does get a double chain grab. Throws out the ulti coming into the stun, putting out some nice damage pressure onto blue team. And does get a little bit of burst cannon damage off. War Dancer, dangerous HP situation for blue team now. Shielding coming out by the Paladin. Gunlancer of red, low, under 50% now. Ulti coming out by blue team's War Dancer is going to get a little bit of damage out onto that Gunslinger, but it's just not enough, as there was DR available from red team there to mitigate some of that. And there comes the snipe through, finishing off the Soulfist of blue team. And right now the War Dancer is actually running away and is going to get finished off for a 2-0 lead by red in this match. Not sure if that Soulfist pick ended up being the right choice for them right now. Still plenty of time in this match, 2 minutes remaining, and everybody on red is under 50%. Blue team still can turn this match around. Soulfist coming through, does get sniped out once more, knocked down, not using their roll. Actually doesn't have their roll, so forced to lay on the ground as the War Dancer comes through with the Tornado, but does get frozen out of it. Paladin extremely low right now, looking to finish him off. Shielding comes through, however. Gunslinger now dropping low as well. And a blue team, if they can turn this around for a 3-2 situation, as they are going to finish off the Gunslinger here finally, just before the Paladin ulti can come out. Very critical kill there. Gunslinger not getting any of that shielding, keeping them off the map for a few moments, allowing blue team to pursue red, giving them time for that Paladin shield to drop off. Paladin ulti coming in is going to finish off the red team Paladin 2-2, and they are going to finish off the Gunlancer as well. Now the Gunslinger is by themselves, as all of blue team is alive with a Paladin shield at their disposal, and they manage to catch them in a stun by their spawn, but the Ruffian comes out from red team's Paladin to protect them from any of the damage that they could have eaten there. Gunslinger coming out with a very aggressive engage, quickly backing off, back behind their Gunlancer. Gunlancer now in the front. 3-2 lead for blue, with the only one on blue team in a low HP situation being their Paladin, who does a really great job of not taking damage overall. War Dancer connecting on a nice Crescent Moon there, allowing the Soulfist to Gatling finish him off in the air. Get some nice damage off onto that Paladin of red. Ulti coming through by the Soulfist, followed by a Sword of Justice, dropping red team's Paladin back under 50% HP, and is now anyone's game, as blue team now has position on being able to pick up another kill as we enter that 30-second mark range. And this comes in the stun by the Soulfist, but the Gunslinger launched their ulti to mitigate themselves from getting CC'd, and actually does get a follow-up snipe off onto the Paladin, tying it up 3-3. Gunlancer gets a nice chain pull topside into the burst cannon, finishing off the War Dancer, putting them up 4-3, 10 seconds left. Blue team needs to get a kill here. They manage to catch a stun onto that Gunlancer, but the Ruffians comes through to mitigate that damage. 4 seconds remaining, and blue team is not going to be able to pick up a kill at the moment, and it is going to go to red team, forcing a game 3. That chain pull by the Gunlancer by blue team spawn into the full burst cannon secured that additional kill, allowing them to take this victory away, managing to stop a 2-0 sweep. Let's take a look at the post-game stats right there. Gunslinger, much better performance by red team with almost 370k damage dealt, 210k damage taken. Very nice performance that time all around. Now that Soulfist, while they did bring an additional layer of damage reduction, this was a very low kill game. It was only 4-3, and until the final moments it was 3-2. Very low damage output game overall across the board. A lot of damage reduction available on both sides of these teams, but there was just not enough offensive firepower between the Soulfist and War Dancer to combat that Gunslinger, and not enough ways to catch him out. Overall, unfortunately, still a very solid showing by that Paladin on blue team once more. If they're able to, get a little more offensive pressure out with their comp in the next round, I think blue team will lock in a second win, but we'll see if they stick with the Soulfist once more or change it up back to the Demonic. All right, here we are into the third and final match of the second series for the quarterfinals B group. Winner here moves on to the winners match, and the winner of that game will move into the semifinals this weekend. And we are going to see the Soulfist swap back to the Demonic for red team. So we're back to War Dancer, Demonic, Paladin going up against that Gun Lancer, Gunslinger, Paladin comp of blue team. They have stayed true to that comp the entire time. Let's see if this works out for red team's favor this time, as the snipe once again connecting onto that War Dancer, and War Dancer forced to use roll there, but the Demonic does come through with a nice beam to peel off that Paladin a little bit. Rufion's coming out to mitigate that Gun Lancer burst cannon damage, and red team is regrouping on that side. War Dancer jumping in, does connect with the freeze onto the Gunslinger, but immediately gets CC'd out by the Paladin and eats the shotgun rounds from that Gunslinger, dropping that War Dancer below 50% HP already. Ultimate coming out by the Gun Lancer does not connect it for really any damage, not getting what they wanted in that old situation. War Dancer jumping back in onto that Gun Lancer and is not able to get any knock up there, and actually gets counter knocked up by that Gun Lancer. Demonic backside looking to get a follow-up engage onto that Paladin, does get some stagger out with their blades from far, dashing away, looking for a chance, does connect with the spikes, but the Gun Lancer does mitigate it with CC knockdown prevention, and there goes the Paladin getting a nice knock onto the Demonic on the bottom side of the map. War Dancer, extremely low HP situation right now, is looking to potentially get finished off by the Gun Lancer there, but manages to roll away before the Gun Lancer can get the burst cannon off. Demonic connecting bottom side into the War Dancer's freeze. However, they miss the whirlwind kick. Paladin ulti coming out for blue to get some nice shielding out, as the War Dancer is going to fall to the Gunslinger ulti that came from bottom side, and now the Paladin is caught in a stagger as well as the Demonic right now. Dangerous situation as blue team is looking to take a nice kill lead here to start things off. Little over 2 minutes remaining as this Paladin drops to dangerous HP ranges. Pretty much no HP bar existing, coming with a small shield. Demonic transformation leap in, but he does get counter knocked immediately and does not get any immediate damage follow-up. Gun Lancer getting a nice burst cannon off on the War Dancer there to drop them lower once more. Paladin is finished off, 2-0 lead for blue, and the Demonic is low HP as well. Not looking good for red team here. Demonic looking to jump in, doesn't connect, has to space away immediately before getting knocked up by that Paladin. Stays on the ground, eats the snipe, but the shield came through on the Paladin to keep this Demonic alive, getting the blade toss off from far into the grab. Thrust impact for some nice damage onto that Paladin, but Paladin is just so tanky. Does get the beam off onto this Gunslinger to stun them out, and he does get a knife Ruffion protection from their Paladin there before they get finished off by the Gunslinger, and the Gunslinger is looking to still finish them off as this Demonic is still hanging on by literally an HP bar you can't see. Does get finished off though by the chain pull of the Gun Lancer. 3-0 lead for blue as we are coming up to the final minute, and this War Dancer looking like they're going to fall once more, extremely low health, and is going to jump in, manage to connect on the Gunslinger, but the shield comes out by blue team to protect the Gunslinger from taking any real damage from that tornado by the War Dancer, as they are now chasing blue team's Gun Lancer and Gunslinger around, finishing off the Gun Lancer there, but the snipe comes through by that Gunslinger to finish off the War Dancer once more. 3-kill lead for blue team as we enter the final minute. Blades come out to slow down that Gunslinger and keep them out and just zone them away from their team. Snipe comes through from off screen, managing to knock down the Paladin. Demonic topside looking for something, does come dashing in, getting off a thrust impact onto that Gun Lancer. War Dancer trying to connect with the tornado, not able to get it. This Gunslinger is low HP once again. However, there is an opportunity to get him. Snipe coming through, not able to connect on it. Paladin, dangerous situation. Red team Paladin coming in with the ulti to get some shielding out for their team as that convulsive buff 30-second window hits. War Dancer getting off a nice tornado there is going to finish off the Paladin for blue team. 4-2 blues lead. Red team needs to get 2 kills here with 30 seconds remaining. Ulti coming out from red team, both ultis of the War Dancer and the Demonic, but they don't pick up any kills there. This is going to let the Demonic get close to, hopefully close to demon form. Does get a nice grab and finish off on the Gunslinger there. War Dancer, Gun Lancer, extremely low, needs to be careful. 1 second remaining, and it doesn't look like they're going to get it. Wait, they do get it in the final milliseconds of the match, and this goes into overtime. The Gun Lancer did fall in the final milliseconds there. You can't quite see it because it just stays at 0, but there were some milliseconds remaining as it counted down from 1 to 0, and they do get it, and they are going to look to pick up the Paladin kill here in overtime as well. 15 seconds left. Blue team needs to hold on His Paladin extremely low HP, the final bits of shielding available from blue team about to drop off, and this Paladin is now completely vulnerable. Red team looking to finish him off, however, as they do actually have the Gunslinger caught topside as well, now dashing away, trying to zone out by their spawn. Demonic comes jumping in, looking to finish off this Paladin, can't quite get it. War Dancer comes jumping in, does get the tornado off, and before the Gun Lancer can come in with the leap shield, they will finish off the Paladin there, and Red team will take this victory 2-1. What a finish. I thought this was going to end up being a last second victory for blue team as the time ran out, but there was still just milliseconds remaining as that time ran down before the kill went through on that Gun Lancer to force it into overtime, which let red team, I don't know if blue team maybe let out a sigh of relief or something and they thought the match was over, but they immediately fell apart in that final overtime there as the Paladin very quickly went from near full down to nothing in those first moments. And then once all the shielding wore off from blue team, the Paladin was just trying to run away and wasn't able to get it. Great damage performance by the Gunslinger. The Gunslinger for blue team had a phenomenal match here, as you can see, with 435k damage output and only 237k damage taken. And, you know, that was great from them, but, you know, other than that, there wasn't too much damage that came through by the Gun Lancer and Paladin as well. You know, they're just there to provide some support and damage reduction and damage mitigation, but red team having a very solid performance across the board with the War Dancer and the Demonic having solid damage output. That Demonic being probably the key, I feel like, in this matchup, as while the Soul Fist can be a nice damage reduction alternate pick, the Demonic does just bring a little bit more ranged utility with a lot of range slow, range knockdown, range stun, a lot of really great ranged utility at their disposal to pick and peel for their team while also having good movement to dive in and out and get burst off. So much better performance by red team there, and they are going to move on to the winners match, and blue team is going to drop down into the losers bracket, and we are going to get started now into those winners bracket matches right now. All right, and we're going to get the first match of this winners bracket series underway. Winner will advance to the semifinals no matter what, while the loser will drop down to play the winner of the losers bracket matchup for a chance to still advance to the semifinals. Now, blue team actually coming out with a little bit of a comp swap here. They had a War Dancer, but have changed it over to a Lance Master, while red team is back sticking to that double support artillerist comp here for this winners bracket series. Artillerist jumping in right away, not connecting with a Gatling, unfortunately, like they probably would have liked to, but they are going to walk towards the Paladin of blue team and don't connect on the stun, but they do drop the nuke anyways, managing to get a little bit of a flamethrower off. 12k nuke coming in on that Paladin, who does also eat a little bit of chunk by that Bard, however. The Artillerist does get grabbed by the Demonic into a thrust impact to take a little bit of chunk damage. Bard from red coming out with the Rhapsody to mitigate some of the damage. Lance Master coming in with a nice vault kick into the Golden Dragon sweep, able to put out some hurt onto that Artillerist, dropping him under 50% HP, but red team's Paladin coming through with a nice ulti to chunk down blue team's Paladin as well. The Artillerist getting absolutely massacred, eating through that Paladin shield, and is actually going to drop inside dangerous HP ranges now. Blue team's Paladin still hanging out by their spawn, caught in a stun by the Artillerist. Demonic is going to try to drop the stun, drop the AoE ult to peel for him, but the nuke was already placed by the Artillerist, and that is going to finish off the Paladin there no matter what. Unfortunate situation there for blue, unable to prevent that kill despite using the ultimate. Not able to connect on that ranged spear by the Lance Master. This Artillerist, extremely low HP on red, is coming out with the Gatling. Blue team doing a great job of preventing themselves from getting caught in that Gatling with their auto attacks. And there it is, a little bit of ranged poke coming out onto that Artillerist. Not able to grab him, just out of range of that. However, Demonic knocked up into the shock by this Paladin. This Paladin on red doing a great job appealing for his team at the moment. However, Lance Master not able to connect on the red Dragonfly. Demonic transformation coming through topside, avoiding the nuke. Use that Demonic transformation to avoid a stun. Comes leaping in, not able to connect for that Quake CC, however. And you're going to see a turret transformation come out by that Artillerist. And blue team's Paladins now is going to come in with their ulti to get through that artillerist shield a little bit and provide some damage mitigation for their own team. This artillerist still hanging on by no HP, manages to catch a stun onto that demonic backside by their spawn, nuke dropping, finishing him off. This artillerist, it will not die, hanging on for dear life with almost no health, just constant shielding coming out between the two supports and himself here. And this Lance Master, low HP for blue, is looking close to falling, as it looked like blue team had the first kill in this match on lock. Instead, they are now down 3-0 as this artillerist eats through the Sword of Justice and still has not fallen, as he drops another nuke, and a Sword of Justice comes through by red team's Paladin to get the blue team Paladin low. Artillerist finally falling for red team here, but at what cost? You're going to have 3-1 lead for red. This Paladin now getting some healing coming through from the Bard and their own shielding, keeping them alive just a little bit longer, as blue team's Paladin is now under 50% HP. There is just so much damage reduction and damage mitigation that comes out from red team that allows them to stay alive for so long. Blue team Paladin managing to catch 2 people on red in a nice spin, and unfortunately that Lance Master does not connect with the ranged spear as much as they would have liked to, and they are going to pursue onto this Paladin, however, try to finish them off, but he's able to roll away and get a shield off for his team, as the artillerist is still pumping away at the demonic here, dropping them under 50% health. Lance Master close to 50 as well. This Paladin for red now has been hanging on for dear life with almost no HP as well, and we are now inside that 30-second convulsive buff range. Flamethrower damage coming out onto that demonic does catch the artillerist in the beam CC. However, you are going to have the Bard ulti come out now for another 50% HP shield, which is just going to elongate the life of everybody on red, while blue has almost nothing at their disposal to prevent their damage being taken, as the demonic now drops inside 5% HP, extremely low, does transform to get a little bit of health, and is going to try to come jumping in. Has to be careful not to get caught. OpenGL managing to space away, and time is going to run out before blue team can pick up a kill there, as the Lance Master actually falls in the final seconds as well, and red team is going to come in with a 4-1 victory for the first match in this winner's bracket. Let's take a quick look at the breakdown here on the game stats, and there you can see it overall. Very low damage taken by OpenGL and the Paladin of red. Neither of them dying. The only death going to the artillerist, and that artillerist stayed alive for so long, almost going through 2 health bars. There was so much shielding and healing that came out between the Paladin and Bard that allowed the freaking artillerist to, only die 1 time, along with the own artillerist shielding. This has been a hot topic of discussion amongst the KR community, that it feels really lame right now having these DPS classes with damage protection, damage reduction skills, shielding at their disposal, while there's also supports that are providing shielding. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how Smilegate might tackle this type of situation, because there is a lot of shielding at the disposal of some classes, and it can feel really bad and really difficult to get through your damage when there's just non-stop shielding coming in from multiple different sources, including the target's own shield. So not enough offensive firepower came out from blue team, unfortunately. Well, that's not entirely true. They were able to put out a lot of damage onto that artillerist early on and throughout the match, but they were never able to secure any kills or get enough pressure where they needed it. And unfortunately, they fell in a battle of attrition to red team here in the first match. Let's see if they make any changes for the second match. All right, getting the second match of this winner's bracket series underway, and we are going to see that Lance Master swapping back to the War Dancer. Hopefully that extra damage reduction cooldown that comes in from War Dancer will be enough to allow red team to hang on in this battle of attrition that goes on from blue team's survivability with all of the shielding that they have at their disposal. So we're going to have the DPS of red rolling around topside, looking to get a grab, but instead get counter knocked up by the Paladin, rolled away before they could get CC'd out. Demonic getting a nice thrust impact, double blades off onto the OpenGL there to get some nice early game poke. Stun came through on the artillerist, however, as they drop the nuke. Big AoE coming out on red team's Paladin. Already seen a double ulti by red with Demonic ulti and Paladin ulti, but blue team's pretty much taking no damage despite it. All of that came out, as the artillerist is hardly touched so far. OpenGL, the only one on blue team now, eating massive damage, however, actually, by the pursuit of this War Dancer from red, as OpenGL is forced to pop the ultimate early on here. This is good for red team, getting that ult out early on and able to have a little bit of control in this match as they are 2v1ing the Paladin bottom side, while the Paladin for red is able to put out some pressure on OpenGL and the Artillerist. And right now, blue team is going to drop their ulti as well. And we have now seen both supports drop their ults, and they will manage to pick up a kill, however, on the Paladin here to put blue team up 1-0, but they have burned both of their support ultimates now this early on, which is very good for red team here, as blue team does not have any emergency fallbacks, especially for that 30-second convulsive window now. But nice nuke dropping in, getting some good chunk damage out onto red there on the War Dancer. And Demonic right now, full flamethrower stacks are going to get put on to this War Dancer right now. A little bit of shield comes out by the Paladin. Demonic getting a nice knock up there. Looking and zoning this OpenGL in their spawn as OpenGL slowly eats some health away by the flames, because it is percent HP based, so it's only a little bit of damage at that low HP range. OpenGL is low. Paladin dropping lower as well, similar HP to this Artillerist, but they do have shielding that is constantly pumping out, keeping them alive little by little, as this Paladin is now back above 50% HP from all that healing from the Bard, and the Demonic is going to fall now for red. 2-0 blues lead. There's just so much survivability at hand for blue team here to allow them to just continue to keep things going. And there they are, picking up a 3-0 lead, but everybody on their team is low now for once in this situation, and there is still an opportunity here for red, as the Paladin does unfortunately eat a full unload by that Artillerist turret mode and is dropping close to 60% HP here. And red team really needs to connect with a nice combo attack onto blue to really just get them all down and tie things back up. Grab coming through, but the Artillerist CC immunities through it, not getting pulled. OpenGL falling back into his spawn, knowing that he can't be killed by the flames. Fortunately, a nice spacebar iframe by the War Dancer to avoid the stun and finish off OpenGL there. 3-1, red team finally picking up a kill. Paladin not able to get the knockup. Artillerist tanking his way through it, but he does get knocked here by the Demonic. Rhapsody coming through to protect him, forced to roll away to avoid the knockup by the Demonic Spikes. Paladin by himself is going to get caught by the Tornado and knocked once more. Paladin for blue does not have roll, stuck on the ground at the moment. Artillerist rocket jumping in. Managed nice Demonic transformation there to avoid the knockup by the Artillerist. Is going to look to finish off the Artillerist here, but the Rhapsody is down. Demonic pursuing, trying to get him. Paladin did fall for blue. 3-2. Red trying to close it in. If they can finish off the Artillerist here, Demonic explosion coming out, not able to finish them off, but instead they're getting OpenGL back down low once more. Artillerist now does fall. 3-3, and red team is now in an advantage situation as OpenGL is back under 50% and actually inside that low HP execution range. War Dancer ulti coming through, putting out some nice damage onto blue team Paladin as well, as he's now under 50% HP. Red team very much in control of the match at this moment, as OpenGL is just one hit away from falling. One solid skill connect, but there he is, getting the healing off, and he is going to jump himself back up close to around 25% HP. A little bit of shielding. We are going to jump into overtime here. Demonic Beam coming through, not able to connect on that Paladin. War Dancer looking for an opportunity. Paladin caught in a nuke combo stun. Left side gets dropped massively down into dangerous HP, but the Paladin does manage to stun him out, as OpenGL is still extremely low, and OpenGL is at risk of going down here as the War Dancer come through. It connects on the kill on OpenGL. 10 seconds left. The Paladin and Demonic extremely low right now. If they can stay away, red team will pick up a win here to move this into a third match. Nuke coming out, no stun to come through by the Bard, and red team is going to secure a win here to force a game 3. What a close match. What an overtime finish. That was a very close game all the way through. It was low damage, low pressure throughout most of it, but those final moments, it really kicked into overdrive, and you actually saw a very solid offensive showing here by the Artillerist of blue team. But the Bard, OpenGL, this time just got caught a couple too many times, and he's actually going to be the deciding factor in this with those 2 deaths there and almost 300k damage taken. If they're able to protect OpenGL just a little bit more, or OpenGL is able to just stay out of a few situations just a little bit better, they definitely secure a win in this match to take a 2-0 sweep. But red team was able to put on a lot of pressure. Early on, the War Dancer from red did a really great job of sticking to OpenGL and actually taking him down into dangerous HP and forcing the Bard ultimate very early. And I think that was really a deciding factor in this match. Forcing that Bard ultimate early on took it away from being an available defensive like skill that they were able to use in those 30 seconds of the convulsive buff, which allowed red team to really tie things up and make this an overtime match. And you still had a very solid showing all the way through by red team. The Paladin did take a lot of damage this time around, close to 2 deaths there, but was able to hang on, as you did get some nice damage out across the board between the Demonic and the War Dancer. I think that DR utility that comes into play with the War Dancer really helped a lot for red team's survivability throughout this match. But we are moving into a game 3 for this winners match to decide who guaranteed moves on to the semifinals. Let's get into that third game now. All right, third and final match of the winners bracket series for the quarterfinals. Winner moves on to the semifinals. Loser will drop down to play another match against the winner of the losers bracket to see if they can still advance to the semifinals. Both teams here still have a chance at going to the semifinals no matter the outcome of this match. It's just the winner guarantees it. And you're going to see red team stick to that same double support artillerist comp, blue team sticking to their War Dancer this time. Demonic immediately getting caught in a knockup, forced to space away right away. Does catch a double stun into their spikes right there, getting some nice damage onto red. But actually, the Rhapsody came through to mitigate a lot of that damage, along with a nice group shielding at the disposal of red team's Paladin. Artillerist caught into a nice sort of justice coming through by blue team's Paladin there to chunk that Artillerist down. Artillerist caught once more by the War Dancer into the Whirlwind Kick. Rufion's coming out trying to mitigate some of that damage, but it's too late. War Dancer getting the Tornado off. Artillerist dropped down under 50% HP. Rocket jumps towards blue team, gets caught once more in another knock, does not have roll, and is extremely low HP right now, forcing the Paladin ultimate to come through and provide that protection here in the first minute of the match. And this Artillerist on red team is already extremely low, but we saw that in the first match as well, but they weren't able to close out a kill. So let's see if blue team can secure it this time around, as this Artillerist is still hanging around in that low HP right now. Blue team regrouping on their side of the map, as their Demonic and War Dancer are both close to 50% HP, but their Paladin is still well off at the moment. Paladin coming in by red team, does get caught in a War Dancer knockup there. Bard support for red, getting a nice knockup there to peel for their own Paladin. Demonic bottom side, caught in a knockup by the Paladin, manages to get a reverse engage onto this Paladin bottom side, and is going to chunk away with a thrust impact, but the War Dancer is going to finish off the Artillerist top side, while both supports are picked off bottom side away from him, and red team's Paladin sort of justicing through a shield from blue team, not able to get any damage out of it. Red team's Bard trying to get some CC out, but does get stunned out of it by the Demonic, knocked into the War Dancer's ultimate there. OpenGL is going to eat a thrust impact and drop really low HP, gets a nice buckshot off to peel for himself and drop away, but the War Dancer immediately leaps back in, finishes him off. 2-0 lead for blue team. First time they've led in this series against them. Demonic transforming, jumping in, getting off a nice rake claw series off onto red team's Paladin, who's not able to get a Sword of Justice off, unfortunately. However, Demonic is going to drop his transformation and come back in, get a nice beam, grab, thrust impact off onto the Bard there. Nice little combo to chunk OpenGL down just a little bit. War Dancer and Demonic are both low HP for blue team. Red teams can still tie this up, and we are going to see another support ulti come through right there to put out a huge shield on red team. Once again, not having their shields available in those final 30 seconds with the convulsive buff, that could be huge, as the War Dancer for blue does fall here 2-1. Close series. Nuke coming through by that Artillerist, and you're actually going to watch as both members of blue team's remaining members are going to fall. 3-2 swing for red, and now you're going to see the Bard heal come through and top off some of their members, as well as get a nice big heal up on the Paladin. The other members actually jumping out of it, but very quickly coming in, catching the Paladin and Artillerist in a double CC knockup combination. They immediately are dropped back down to 50% HP, but the Bard was able to put out a Rhapsody to prevent any more damage to drop them below that. Nuke coming through to chunk out on the Paladin, but it's just not that much at the moment, as it was a lone nuke on its own. Paladin coming in, getting a nice spin in the middle of all of red team there. Rhapsody out by OpenGL to mitigate some of that damage. Everybody forced to jump away as the Demonic ulti comes through, and you're actually going to have the Artillerist got knocked into the back end of that ultimate, giving that Demonic a little bit of bar, and there it is. Demonic comes jumping in. Artillerist forced to roll. It still eats the damage, but avoids the CC. Does get the kill onto that Artillerist, and now the Paladin falls as well, eating the nuke damage of that Demonic, as the Demonic is now racing across the map, trying to pick up on this Bard, drops his demon form, and dashes away to avoid the flamethrower of the respawning Artillerist. 4-3 lead for blue team, 10 seconds remaining. War Dancer jumping in, getting the CC on the Bard, keeping him out of the match right now. Artillerists coming in with the nukes dropping, but there's the Ruffians out by blue team to keep them alive, and there it is, blue team with that War Dancer. Demonic Paladin coming in with another win to close this series out 2-1, and they will advance to the semifinals. And the double support artillerist comp is going to drop down for a chance to play the winner of the losers bracket to still have a chance to move to the semifinals this coming weekend. All right, let's take a quick look at the post-game breakdown. And here you are going to see really great showing by the Demonic this time around. Demonic was able to get a lot of damage out while doing a really great job of managing the damage that they took. The artillerist was just absolutely pummeled this time around. Very early on, got bullied, dropped down to low HP, and even after he respawned in mid-match, he got knocked again, jumped rocket towards the enemy team, and still just was low HP throughout the series, throughout this whole match. And unfortunately, there was not too much that red team was able to do to make up for all that damage that the artillerist was taking overall. So once again, great showing by blue team there. Very strong offensive output by their Demonic, and we're going to wait and see who red team is going to end up facing coming out of this losers bracket match. Winner is who they will face. All right, and here we are getting the Group B quarterfinals losers bracket underway. Winner here will fight against the losers of the winners bracket for a chance to still go to the semifinals. Loser here is officially eliminated from the tournament. And we are going to see Hit and Typhoon back on their Striker and Berserker with their Bard going up against Gunslinger, Gunlancer, Paladin. Right away, Hit getting knocked up by the Gunlancer and Paladin. Rhapsody coming out right away, however, by the Bard into the stun to let Hit connect with an execution. There was a shield up, however, which prevented any damage that came out from that execution. Blue team looking to catch bottom side on Hit. They managed to get the stun out, but Hit does have the peel there from his Bard to prevent blue team from applying too much pressure. Blue team having taken virtually 0 damage so far in this match. Typhoon looking to connect on the backside just a little bit on that Gunslinger, being pursued with the Tiger Toss, managing to keep on to that Gunslinger. The Paladin is going to come out with the Ruffians to protect the Gunslinger from taking too much damage, drawing Typhoon's attention, and Typhoon is going to get the knockdowns onto the Paladin bottom side. Paladin ulti from blue coming out, and it's going to be a nice 30k hit onto the Bard of red team, while they also get out their own shielding with their own ult there. But blue team now with their ult burned from the Paladin at the moment, and red team's own ult burned as well. Both team supports have burned their damage mitigation ultimates. Nice little red dust coming through. Backstep by the Gunlancer to avoid the quake effect of the Sword Storm from Hit. Hit caught inside a stagger by the Gunslinger. Sword of Justice coming through to chunk Hit down into low HP territory. And you do have the Gunlancer on blue rolling back towards the middle there after getting knocked down by Typhoon. Typhoon getting a nice whirlwind kick, going straight into his ultimate. Does get the first hit off onto the Gunslinger, but not the second hit. Manages to leap back down on top of the Gunslinger and goes for the Tiger Toss once more, knocking that Gunslinger down to dangerous HP ranges. And actually, the Gunlancer of blue is about to be executed as well. Ruffian's coming out by the Paladin to mitigate that damage in those dangerously low HP situations, but you are going to have the Gunlancer and Gunslinger both fall here, with Hit having fallen moments before by red. They are currently up 2-1, and now the Gunlancer is on his own and is going to get, or the Paladin's on his own, going to get finished off there, and red is going to take a 3-1 lead as the Rhapsody comes out onto Typhoon there before the Gunslinger can get off too much damage overall. And now Typhoon catching that Gunslinger by himself, getting the knockdown into the whirlwind kick. Hit looking to pursue and catch him, not able to get it, rolling away and disengaging before the Gunslinger comes back at him. Execution coming through, but for not any damage. And now you're going to have the Gunslinger get the stagger out, but Typhoon comes in with that Tiger Toss to push this Gunslinger away once more, not letting this Gunslinger really have time to stand by and connect anywhere they want. Snipe coming through, connecting on Typhoon for a little bit of damage, forcing him topside away from his Bard, spacing back around, reconnecting in the middle with their team, and you are going to see a low damage execution come out there on the Gunlancer topside, but it is still damaged nonetheless. And Typhoon is going to catch that Gunslinger once more into a flurry of knees and kick combination to drop that Gunslinger down below 50%. Tiger Toss coming in, but the Paladin manages to get a counter knockup onto Typhoon there as Typhoon is rolling back around topside once more, trying to get eyes on that Gunslinger, just trying to keep pressure on that Gunslinger nonstop, not let that Gunslinger get an opportunity as the Gunslinger gets lifted by the Bard and forced to use their roll there. And Gunslinger now back behind their team, knocked once more by Typhoon into the whirlwind kick, but the Paladin is there with the Ruffians to protect him as Typhoon jumps back in onto the Gunlancer, who is currently stuck between Hit and their Bard. Gunlancer extremely low. Tiger Toss once more coming through by Typhoon, and you are going to watch as the Gunlancer does fall while Typhoon is putting in the constant nonstop pressure onto this Gunslinger, forcing them to use all of their movement just to try and get away, jumping back in, finishing off the Gunslinger there as the Paladin falls as well. 6-1 lead by Red. Very dominant back half performance by Red Team here. Typhoon just absolutely on a rampage, completely destroying this Gunslinger and not letting them have a moment's rest to really ever get a single time to use their rifle form fully. So very great offensive performance by Typhoon there. Let's take a quick look at the stats of this match, and there it is. You can see Typhoon with 400k damage on that striker with no deaths to match his Bard's 0 deaths as well, but very strong offensive showing there, and you can see the Gunslinger for blue team really did not get any opportunities for damage, having under 200k damage dealt, coming close to their support Paladin's damage dealt. But this really just came down to Typhoon being able to go absolutely unchecked throughout the match, chasing that Gunslinger around everywhere. And unfortunately, you know, Gunlancer and Paladin aren't the most mobile. They don't have a lot of movement skills outside of a couple charge abilities that you see utilized in PvP, and they can't really keep up with a Gunslinger who's trying to escape and jump around. And maybe that is what kind of, you know, worked against them here in the situation, as Typhoon is able to just keep up with that Gunslinger everywhere they go and keep them locked down. But we'll see if blue team makes any adjustments here in this next match of the losers bracket series. All right, and we're gonna get this second match underway in this losers bracket series for B group quarterfinals. Red team not making any adjustments to their class lineup, as blue team will still be coming back again as well with a striker, Zerker, Bard to go up against the Gunlancer, Gunslinger, Paladin. Let's see if red team does make any adjustments to their playstyle to count for the aggressiveness of Typhoon on that striker. Immediately bottom side, you're going to have the Gunlancer and Paladin trying to catch Hit out for a little bit of damage. Snipe coming through to poke Hit down just a little bit. Typhoon with the Tiger Toss on the bottom side corner of the screen to knock that Gunlancer on red. Gunlancer and Paladin, the only ones who've taken really considerable damage so far early on in the match. You're going to have the Paladin ulti come out here very early on. Does not connect on anyone on blue for damage, but does provide a nice shield across the board for their team, as you are going to see blue team's Bard pop their ultimate as well. And you're going to see both supports putting out that counteractive damage for their teams here early on, as Hit now with no shield left is going to be dropping down into low HP range, getting off a nice execute there, but it didn't connect for too much damage as there was shielding currently at the disposal for red. And Bard does connect with a stun onto the Gunslinger, but the Ruffian's there by the Paladin to mitigate any damage coming through. Typhoon coming in with that crescent kick onto that Gunslinger, but he does get pulled off by a chain pull and comes through with the Tiger Toss and is now trying to pursue onto that Gunslinger again. Hit still low HP bottom side, connecting for a little bit onto that Paladin, connects with the Sword Storm on the Paladin and the Gunslinger, gets a nice execute off to poke down that Paladin just a little bit more. Gunslinger extremely low, ult coming through by Hit, and there down goes the Gunslinger to give blue team the first kill in this match. 1-0 lead for blue, but red still does have their Paladin at extremely low health, while Hit is low as well. Nice stun coming through by that Bard with the Rhapsody, and before Hit can get the execute off, you actually get a nice counterattack by the Gunslinger there into the burst cannon. Big damage coming out there on the Bard, just a little bit healing out by Bard right now to stabilize their team just a little bit, and down goes the Paladin for red. 2-0 lead for blue. Gunslinger getting a nice chain pull off there to pull Typhoon away, as the Gunslinger is low, under 50% now. Gunlancer trying to create some space for his team right now as he gets knocked by Typhoon, and Hit is still getting really good value out of that low HP life situation that he's had. And before the Sword of Justice can come through, the Bard there with the disruption and the Rhapsody that would have saved his life regardless. And now you have the Gunlancer extremely low HP, does get hit by the red dust and is gonna fall here to the Striker of blue, 3-0 lead. Incredible value coming out of Hit's low HP life situation as Bard gets off another heal to give Hit just a little more health to continue to allow him to fight on this battlefield. Gunslinger on red, low HP also. Typhoon coming in with a nice knock up there. Snipe comes out, doesn't connect. Shotgun round blast comes through, but Typhoon rolls and is now on the hunt for this Gunslinger once more. Does connect with the whirlwind kick, slowing the Gunslinger topside. Typhoon waiting for an opportunity. Sword of Justice comes through bottom side on the Bard. Ultimate coming out by the Gunlancer though. Doesn't connect on anyone for damage as he's pursuing Hit around. Windblade coming through, and he does get the knock onto Hit there, and Hit will fall now to the Gunlancer topside, and that will give Red Team their first kill in this match. 3-1, and we have 1 minute remaining, and there goes the Bard with a snipe coming out by the Gunslinger to make it 3-2. Gunslinger still low on red. Opportunity at hand for blue team to give themselves a 2-kill lead here if they can connect on this Gunslinger. Typhoon is low on that striker, needs to be careful. Does get a nice knock-up series here onto that Paladin while his team makes work of the Gunslinger over there away from his supports. And now you're gonna have Hit come through with the Zerker Flurry and is not able to connect for too much damage there as the Paladin did have shielding on hand at the moment. Inside that 30-second window, convulsive buff active. Opportunity here for red team to actually turn it around. They only need 2 kills, and 2 people on blue are under 50% HP. Typhoon needs to be extremely careful here, trying to get a little bit of healing out of the Bard healing circle, but the Gunslinger is going to come through, getting off a nice double stagger, but big ulti coming out right there, executing Hit very quickly, and Typhoon is extremely low right now, but time is going to run out as the Paladin and Gunslinger try to pursue him into their spawn, and they are not able to finish off Typhoon in time before time ran out. 4-3 win. Blue will secure this in a 2-0 quick sweep to go back for a chance to fight to advance to the semifinals. Taking a quick look here at the breakdown, Hit actually had a very good match overall, but in those final moments actually took about 50% of his life, around 60k damage in one brief moment that came out from that Gunslinger ultimate along with the rest of red team and just took him out of the match. He had a very good game up to that point and was leading the match in damage. Typhoon having a very solid showing once more. No deaths on Typhoon's front, making great use of his support's healing to keep himself alive throughout critical moments of the match while picking up 3 kills for his team and having good offensive contribution, matching Hit's damage almost bit for bit. And overall, red team, they had a very solid performance, but while they did have a lot of defensive contribution, they didn't have just quite enough offensive contribution to secure the kills when they needed them. You had Hit and Typhoon both at extremely low HPs for very long intervals throughout this match, where red team should have been able to pick up a kill to finish them off, but both of them hung around for a very long time on low HP segments and were able to just create very good advantages for their team in this matchup. So well done by blue team here. They advance to fight in the winners losers bracket match, and red team is eliminated from the tournament. And we're going to get started into the final match of the day, where the winner of this upcoming match will move on to the semifinals and the loser will be eliminated from the tournament. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Final match series of the Group B quarterfinals. We're actually looking at a rematch of the first series of the day. Both of these teams fought each other for the first match of the day in the Group B quarterfinals, and here they are meeting in the winners losers bracket series for a chance to advance to the semifinals. This time, however, you have a red team, Hit and Typhoon, starting off on Striker and Zerker this time, while blue team is going to come out right away with that Scouter Blade Paladin comp that they swapped to in the second match. No artillerist double support this time. Typhoon jumping in, not connecting on the initial engagement, regrouping back towards his Bard. Hit looking to connect with the Sword Storm, doesn't quite get it, goes in with the shoulder tackle. Windblade's in, double knockout by the Scouter there on Typhoon and Hit, misses the freeze. Sword of Justice coming through by OpenGL to put out some nice damage onto Hit right away. The Bard of red team dropping down to 50% HP very quickly here as a lot of damage came out by the Blade and Paladin of blue team, putting out a lot of pressure early on here on red team. And you're now going to have Hit looking to jump in on this Blade, but does get knocked away. Typhoon trying to get onto that Scouter, not quite able to get it, does get frozen out here. Shock Orbs coming out by the Scouter, getting another knock once more on Typhoon, putting him on the ground. Again, Whirlwind Kick coming through, spacing down immediately, trying to catch OpenGL, gets counter staggered out. Stomp coming through onto OpenGL as Hit rolls away. Typhoon 50% HP, but Hit and the Bard on red are both under 50% and low, as most of blue team is still well off at the moment. Windblade coming through, not able to connect onto that scouter. Hit just auto-attacking, trying to avoid getting staggered out. And in the meantime, the Bard is going to fall to a Headhunter from the Blade of Blue, 1-0 lead. And there comes the drone freeze onto Typhoon, but he's able to get away in time before the Scouter can connect with the Ray. And there he goes, jumping in, caught into a stun by the Scouter, and he's going to eat a lot of damage there, but before he can get finished off, the Bard is going to come through with a nice Rhapsody to protect him. Crescent Moonkick there into the Tiger Toss, getting a nice knock-up combination. Ulti coming out, but he gets headhuntered out by the Blade before his ult can go off for the second hit. Unfortunate situation there by Typhoon, as he had a chance to get a little bit of damage out onto blue team, and now you're going to have Hit under 50% HP inside that execution range. Almost could have been finished off there, but a nice Rhapsody came through to protect him. Execute coming through to chunk down onto that Scouter just a little bit, who rolls back through, does get the Ray off, and is going to look to finish off Hit here, who is going to take a little bit of burn damage as the Blade is low HP for blue team, and he will finish off Hit with a Whirlwind. Jump coming in by Typhoon. Able to get a nice Whirlwind kick off onto the Blade there. Does get shocked off by the Paladin into a Sword of Justice. Not for too much damage, though, as the Blade is caught by red team spawn, but is getting healed a little bit by their Bard's healing. Shielding coming out right now by the Paladin. Actually, that was not by their Bard's healing. A different team's Bard. Blade coming in, Paladin finally falling. Blade looking to pick up a kill here on the Bard of red team, and Tiger Toss coming in, and you're actually going to have the Blade fall instead off screen while we're looking down here on the bottom side. But in the meantime, the Scouter is going to pick up another kill on the Bard. 4-2 for blue right now in this situation. And you're looking for this Scouter who is low HP. Red team really wanting to get a pickup on that Scouter so they can have a chance to put in some work on the Paladin and Blade while that Scouter is down and not able to peel for his team from the backside. Windblade coming through by Hit here, and he is going to get off the Quake into the Sword Tempest, but does not get the finishing touch off onto that Scouter. Typhoon now coming in with the Tiger Toss is going to get it there. 4-3, and blue team is putting in a massive amount of damage right now onto blue's Blade, and you're actually going to see the Paladin ult come out right now to try and mitigate some of that damage. Bard under 50% for red team as well right now. Whirlwind coming out, but is not in time, as you are going to see the Tiger Toss come through by Typhoon there, and it's unfortunately, while that's happening, the Bard is going to get absolutely annihilated by an ultimate by the Scouter and get executed very quickly there. Huge 48k Z skill coming out by the Blade to massacre Hit's HP pool, and he is going to fall now, and the Typhoon's going to fall 7-3 just like that. 30 seconds, 5 seconds remaining in that 30-second convulsive window. This match just absolutely escalated out of control, and blue team ran away with it with a massive amount of damage here. 7-3 to change it up, and that is a huge change in this matchup right now, with blue team coming out with a very aggressive first match to dominate red team out the gate. So let's see what this stat breakdown is in this first match. This time they did not run the artillerist, the beefy artillerist double support comp. Instead, they came out guns blazing. Great offensive showing by that Scouter once again. You know, that Scouter proving to be the key in this matchup, but their Blade still bringing the heat as well, with a nice 350k damage dealt and 4 kills, picking up some nice secure kills. That's the very nice thing about Blade, and we say nice, but it's one of the strongest things about him is that, you know, they are a very high damage, close ranged melee class, but they also have considerable ranged elements at their disposal, with Hurricane Rush having such a large berth of AoE, as well as Headhunter having a nice bit of mid-range distance on it, and both skills hit for a considerable amount. And you know, there were a couple times there where the Blade was able to pick up a few kills with that Headhunter and even disrupted an ult. And unfortunately, the Bard for red team really could not just get an opportunity to stabilize themselves and really support their team. As you can see, the Bard was just constantly being bullied around the map. 3 deaths, almost no damage output, and almost 400k damage taken. That's not an ideal scenario for your support. So hopefully Typhoon and Hit are able to make some adjustments on this next match and protect the Bard just a little bit more. But we'll see how that shapes up right now. Here we are moving into the second match of the final series in the Group B quarterfinals. Open GL on that Paladin once more, with the Scouter and Blade on his team. And you're going to have Hit and Typhoon back on the Zerker and Striker. No class adjustments whatsoever on this time around. And let's see if they're able to do anything differently for their support this time. You know, just hopefully mitigate some of the damage that their Bard is taking. And you're going to have the Scouter come out the gate very aggressively, trying to connect on a free stun. Doesn't get it. Typhoon in that back line, trying to get an engagement. Instead, you're going to have Hit getting a nice engage onto the Scouter into the Sword Tempest right away. Missing the execute, but does get a nice Sword Storm off instead. And now you're going to have an ultimate coming out very early on by Typhoon here, but it doesn't connect for too much damage onto that Paladin. And you are going to see blue team popping out their ultimate from their Bard very early on right now, making red have to go on the defensive because they don't want to be firing their attacks into that shield. And Bard connecting with a nice bit of damage on OpenGL on the backside as well as the Scouter. And now you're actually going to see OpenGL fall here very quickly to a combined force of damage by Typhoon and Hit, while the Bard was putting in some pressure on the Scouter. And now you have the Scouter on the back foot trying to get away, but Typhoon is right there jumping on him. And now he's spacing away, falling way back, and Typhoon's coming in over here onto the Blade, while the Paladin is trying to get a knock up there onto Typhoon, into the shock. Typhoon rolling away, avoiding the CC. Red dust coming through, but Hit is going to get stunned off by the Scouter, but does get a nice Rhapsody by his support and manages to connect a nice double Sword Storm into his Berserk Fury, slashing right there. And they're going to pick up a quick kill on the Scouter, going up 2-0. Very aggressive offense series coming out by blue team right here. Forget protecting the Bard. They said, no. We're going to make red team be on the defensive the entire match. Execution coming through for Hit, finishing off one more kill. 3-0 lead for blue. And while Typhoon is on the backside bullying this Paladin at the moment, who's now going to be forced to burn his ulti right after Hit gets his ult off to put a little bit more damage out on that Scouter, who's back under 50% HP already. Typhoon with the Tiger Toss in there to knock the Blade down. Typhoon jumping back in, spacing immediately back towards his team to regroup, back by their spawn. Comes rolling in into the Crescent Moon Kick to get the knock onto the Scouter. Scouter rolls, gets the stun off onto Typhoon here, who eats the Sword of Justice and the beam. Bard does fall for blue team here, but Typhoon and Hit are both still up at the moment, and the Scouter is still under 50% health. Typhoon jumping away, using all of his movement to regroup topside with Hit and their Bard as they respawn right now. Blue team currently up 3-1, but two of their members are extremely low. Typhoon tries to jump in, but does get counter-engaged by the Paladin here and does get finished off, while Hit falls as well. And now the Bard is by themselves on the moment and under 50% HP. Need to be very careful here as they are going to get the Z-skill off. Not very high damage Z-skill by that Blade, unfortunately. And you're actually going to see the Scouter pop their ulti just to guarantee that kill onto the Bard, not let them survive. 4-3 lead for red. They are trying to put themselves back in position of control in this match, but very nice Tiger Toss comes in by Typhoon there to knock them away. And you're going to have Hit coming in, get knocked down, tries to get the execute off, and you're going to have the Bard come through with the Music Ray, and they are going to finish off the Scouter there to tie things up. 4-4, Headhunter comes through to knock down Hit once more. Typhoon and the Blade both knocked, and here comes Hit with his Berserk Fury once more, trying to unload it onto the Blade, into the Sword Tempest, but does get knocked up by the Blade, into the stun. Ult coming through, not going to be enough, however, as there was a little bit of shield put out by the Bard just in time, and Z-skill whiffing, and the Bard does connect for a stun on the Blade bottom side, and Hit is going to look to, Typhoon is going to look to finish off that Blade, and does do so. 5-4 lead for blue at the moment. Scouter now respawn into the fray, and is being pursued by Typhoon, and immediately is jumped on into the Whirlwind Kick, and goes full Tiger Toss, and right now the Scouter is back to 50% HP as OpenGL is getting chipped away at on the bottom side of the map, and the Bard for blue is going to get finished off here, however. And it is now 5-5 inside that convulsive buff. Anybody's game at this moment, as both teams have members in range of being killed off very quickly if there can be combined damage that comes out in a very efficient manner. Tiger Toss coming through by Typhoon. He has to escape and regroup topside with his team right now. Match is going to move into overtime, and we are going to see the overtime convulsive buff still in effect right now, and it is a very close situation. And right there, you're going to have the Blade jump in, get knocked away, forced to jump away. And Typhoon is now in the mix, trying to get a knock-up onto the Scouter. Does get it. Hit on the backside, putting the pressure in on the support and Blade at the moment. And they are going to finish off the Scouter here very quickly. Nice execution coming in on the Scouter to put blue up 6-5. 5 seconds left. Red team needs to get a kill if they want to push this into a second overtime. But they are not going to be able to get it, and time is going to run out. And blue team is going to take a win here to tie things up 1-1 and force a third game to decide who will advance to the semifinals. Let's take a look here at the game stats. As you can see, Hit having a much better offensive showing this time around, and Typhoon picked up 5 assists, but Hit securing 3 kills and coming away with almost 500k damage dealt. But overall, the support for blue team still took almost 400k damage. But instead of protecting the support this time, Hit and Typhoon just went balls to the wall, full offense, and were very aggressive. And, things just kind of fell where they needed them to, and were able to connect on a series of, very critical CCs and ultimates that were able to decide a few key kills, and just really had a very strong offensive output. And I think the key there was keeping the Scouter out of this match. Normally the Scouter had never taken more than, had never taken over 200k damage, and this time the Scouter for red took over 400k damage. That is a lot of damage for your main damage dealer to be taking. And despite that, though, he still had damage to mirror the blade on his team, but the Scouter just had a little too much pressure put on him this time around by blue team. So it'll be interesting to see if red team will keep their current comp for the third match, if they're going to fall back to their artillerist double support combination. Let's see what they do. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Final match of the quarterfinals. Winner takes all. This is the best of 3, 1-1 tied up. Next match wins, and they will advance to the semifinals. And we are going to see blue team coming back out with their original comp that they've been winning with throughout the tournament, with that double support artillerist, going up against the striker, Zerker, Bard of red team. Hit coming out right away with the leap in Windblade. Not sure if he connected as we moved off screen, and we saw Typhoon get knocked away. Sword Storm coming in, not able to connect for any damage onto that Paladin, as they are trying to put out some damage on this artillerist, who actually jumps into the middle of red team, does connect for the stun onto the Bard, and you're going to see blue team's Paladin ult in offensively to contribute to damage to that Bard as well on red team, dropping the Bard on red down below 50%, forcing the Bard ult out right now, and blue team has still hardly taken any damage through all the shielding that they have at their disposal. The Tiger Toss coming through by Typhoon there, only getting a little bit of damage out onto that artillerist, jumping around bottom side, trying to get some CC onto that Bard, and the Bard for red is extremely low, has pretty much no HP in the situation. They are going to pop their own healing here. In fact, though, the Paladin is going to connect onto the Bard and knock them down and finish them off there with the spin, and the artillerist is now going to drop the nuke onto Typhoon topside with the Paladin there in hot pursuit. Does manage to connect on another knockup. Guardian Angel does come in, but he is going to fall to the dot tick damage that comes out. And 2-0 lead for blue team, and they are all in a well-off situation, above 50% HP at this time. Blue currently taking control of this match early on. Typhoon trying to come in very quickly, getting the knockup there on the Bard. OpenGL spacing away back towards his artillerist. Does get the knockup damage out, and you are going to see the ult come out by Typhoon here, but the Ruffians as well as shielding comes through by the Paladin to mitigate all of that damage, and Hit now dropping below 50% HP and down around 20% HP actually at the moment. Nuke is going to drop on nobody up top, but he's going to throw out another shot, trying to anticipate where the Bard is going to go. And Hit is just sitting on no health at the moment. Turret activated for the artillerist. He's going to hop on out of it and stay moving around with his team in a collective unit. Typhoon coming, trying to jump in, not able to get a connection onto that Paladin. Paladin spacing away, anticipating that Tiger Toss. The knockup does come through there on Typhoon, onto that artillerist, getting OpenGL, and the artillerist extremely low right now. OpenGL very low HP inside that execution health range, and you are going to watch as the nuke does drop and Hit is still hanging low. OpenGL has pretty much no HP, nor does the artillerist, but there goes the Rhapsody to provide a little bit of protection, and you're going to see the healing coming out right now while there's double thick shields activated across the board, mitigating any damage that blue team would be taking while they heal up as well. And you are going to see Hit come out with an ultimate right now, but the Ruffians from that Paladin to mitigate that damage is absolutely crucial. Despite this Paladin being more of an offensive Paladin, the simple utility of that damage reduction that they are able to provide makes such a difference. But you are going to watch as the artillerist and Bard do fall, and red team is getting incredible value out of Hit's low HP situation right now before he falls to the respawn artillerist with the Gatling, and is tied up 3-3. But red team got considerable value out of Hit's low HP situation. However, blue is still very much so in an HP advantage right now, as the Striker and Bard are under 50% HP, while everybody on blue is full with 40 seconds remaining. Red team needs to have a very good series here and catch blue team out for some nice damage, but you are going to have the Paladin going in very aggressive backside onto that Bard, but he has a shield up. Rhapsody coming through, not able to connect, does get a knockdown onto that Bard, who eats a little bit of an AoE nuke damage from the Artillerist, dropping lower. Healing going to be coming out for red teams right now as they try to stabilize just a little bit, but blue team is keeping that pressure up at the moment. Typhoon managing to connect for a CC onto that Paladin. Not too much damage coming out, though. Big Sword of Justice coming through, nuking down the Bard and getting the Striker down to basically non-existent health as Hit is on the backside trying to provide some pressure, but it's not going to be enough as Typhoon is going to fall now in the final moments, and blue team is going to secure this victory 5-3 and win this series 2-1, and they are advancing to the semifinals. Let's take a quick look at this post-game stat breakdown. It was a solid showing throughout most of the match for red team. Unfortunately, there's just so much damage mitigation at the disposal of blue team. Again, there was so much shielding on display, and in fact, the Artillerist wasn't even the main damage contributor in this matchup. It was that Infernal Paladin on blue team, right? You have the Bard acting as the primary support while the Paladin runs around as another DPS, getting really large, advantageous damage situations with that Sword of Justice while just providing protection and CC and damage reduction for their team. And, you know, it shows right there with over 300k damage dealt, 180k damage taken. But, you know, that time where you saw an opportunity for Hit, there was a chance towards the end of the match where Hit popped his ult and was going to get it off, and he connected on two targets who were CC'd or, you know, up against the wall, and the Paladin for blue came through with the Ruffians, and that completely negated the deathly situation of that ultimate from Hit. Despite this Paladin being a DPS for the majority of this match and doing the most damage, that simple utility that a Paladin can bring is such a difference maker in these types of situations, along with all the shielding that is available. This is definitely something that is talked about amongst the KR community a lot, with how much damage reduction is at the disposal of teams right now, along with all the shielding that exists, as well as damage classes having shielding as well as damage reduction skills at their disposal. So it'll be interesting to see if Smilegate does anything about this balance-wise going forward. But that is going to wrap up the Group B quarterfinals. And at the time of this recording, we are going to be having the semifinals in just a few hours happen in KR. And we'll be doing those live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Zav. So if you are able to catch us there for those matches, they are going to be best of 5. All right, best of 5 for the semifinals this weekend, and then next weekend will be the finals and third place match. Third place match will be best of 5, and the final match will be a best of 7. So if you guys want to catch an English casting of it, be sure to drop on in. We'll be there and happy to talk about it and give you a little breakdown between each match. Thank you for watching. Have a good one, and we'll catch you in the next one.